Hello, everyone. I hope you are all doing well on this beautiful Thursday. I wanted to come live and talk about a topic that is really near to my heart. I have been a therapist for almost 20 years, and I have learned a lot about what works and what doesn't work when people are struggling or going through difficult times. And I know that there's a lot of people right now that are going through a difficult time. In fact, I'm going to share this out right now to my group. I have a free Facebook group called Room for Healing for anyone who needs a little extra TLC. And I am going to just share it to them so that my community has an opportunity to watch this as well. So say hello if you're hopping on and let me know where you're tuning in from. I would love to know who's here with me today and how everybody's doing. Just doing a little check-in. It's been a while since I've gone live on my personal page, so I would love to connect with all of you. So I am here today to talk about the topic of therapy versus intuition. So if you guys, are you brave enough to share whether you've been to therapy? I've been to therapy. I've been to therapy on and off for most of my life since I was a young girl. I think the first time I went, I was 7 when my parents got divorced. And I just went for a little bit, but that was the time that I really knew that I wanted to become a therapist because the man that I went to was just so wonderful. He was so nice and so sweet and held such compassionate space for me. And I just knew that I wanted to provide that service to other people. So I made it my mission. Hey, Jerice. I'm so thankful that you're here. Thank you for putting a comment in there so I knew that they were working today. Yes. And it's funny because now I have entered the coaching world. You know, I have 2 coaches myself, and I offer coaching services as well. And it's been really interesting to see how different the 2 worlds are and the different levels that we are getting out of being in therapy versus listening to our own intuition and going with coaching. So let me know, especially you, Jerice, if you've had the opportunity of being in therapy and either experiencing the coaching world or just expanding your own intuition and learning what that feels and looks like and how to develop it. Which do you think has served you better? Because this is what I see. I've been a very successful therapist. I've helped countless numbers of people with their own healing. But my personal feeling is that, and what I've witnessed in my clients is that therapy is only one layer. There's a lot deeper level of healing that we can get to through our own intuitive practices, through energy healing, through spiritual healing, and getting to know really deeply every layer of our being. So, not just the cognitive piece, not just the emotional piece, but also incorporating the physical body, the energetic body, our higher selves, the soul version of who we are. I've always been a very spiritual person. I was very religious for many years and have really shifted over to being more spiritual. And so, this has always been a part of my life, but I didn't prioritize it as being central. And when I did that finally and realized that the soul version of me is the actual accurate core of who I am and reflection of who I am and my value system and fulfilling my purpose here on this planet, I got to a level of ease and flow and relaxation that I didn't have to do it all on my own. I have a spiritual support team behind me. I have met people in the spiritual and energetic world that are entirely centered and giving and loving. Not that there's a lot of other people that aren't, but just really out there for the collective good, for raising the consciousness of the highest good for everyone and not just yourself. And I find that a lot of times what happens in therapy is that people become very dependent on their therapist. And this doesn't happen all of the time, but I see a mix of a couple things. I see people who are going and they get a lot of really good skills, but those skills are like band-aids, so they're temporary. And they'll get them through a certain period of their life, but what they're doing is they're helping them manage the symptoms. And that's great. Obviously, there's a real place for that, especially when you're having trouble functioning, To be able to learn those skills is critical in moving forward. But it doesn't necessarily attend to the root issue. Now, there's obviously a lot of ways that we can do that therapeutically to get to the root issue. But what's really awesome about the coaching world and about expanding your intuition is being able to come up with and see these cues on your own, right? Cueing yourself through your physical body, through your energy body, through your emotions, and have your own guidance system within you to direct where you go next, whether you go to therapy, whether you need certain skills, whether you are on the right path for your soul's purpose. So Jerice says, coaching more so than therapy. What is key is that the coach is present and supports me into my presence. I find coaching shifts who I am in the moment and calls forth who I'm becoming. What a beautiful way of putting it. See how you just authored a chapter in a book because you're just so eloquent with your prose, Jerice. Thank you. That's perfect. Hi, Melinda. Hi, Kelly. Linda says the first 15 years of therapy set me up for the healing journey I'm on now. Yes. So exactly. I love it. And I still feel it's very valuable. And I love being a therapist. I love having that role in my patients' lives. And I know that it's very supportive and critical, especially providing a foundation for those people that don't feel like they have as strong of a support system or don't really trust their own emotional guidance system or their own intuition. And that's exactly what it is, Jerice, that I believe as well, which is that I think the therapist tends to take a little bit more of an active role than a coach does, because a coach really puts a lot more responsibility on the client to say, I am owning my own healing, my own journey, my own decisions, my own path. And it's definitely calling in people with a greater level of motivation. Whereas if you're having trouble functioning or you're having trouble motivating yourself to make changes, that's when you start with therapy so that that can assist you with enhancing that motivation. And if you really need a place of safety, particularly if you've had a trauma history and you need to be held in a space of safety where it's like, okay, I know that I'm going to establish my level of security within myself, know that I'm being held in this relationship so that I feel more comfortable developing my intuition. The same thing can happen with a coach, right? But if you really aren't feeling motivated and you're really having trouble functioning, a better place to start is probably therapy. Okay. Now, for me, when I started seeking out coaching, I was having physical issues, physical health difficulties. So, in that situation, I really appreciated having a coach who conducts energy healing because she was able to really support me and provide a foundation and a safe space and do some clearing and healings for my physical health, which was very productive for me. So, when I'm saying area of functioning and when you're having trouble functioning, you start with therapy, I really mean in terms of mental health, in terms of feeling very unstable and having trouble moving forward because you can't get out of your own way and you can't motivate yourself to do the things you need to do to help you with the issue that's presented. So for instance, depression. If somebody's depressed, one of the symptoms of depression is not having motivation, not having being able to access that passion within themselves, not really having interest or energy to do anything. And so if you go to a coach when you're at that level of depressed, I mean, unless you're really, really open to energy healing and saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to lay back, clear some of this crap, clear it out, and help me get to a space where I'm able to receive some of this more. Great. If you're willing to do that, awesome. But it can be really helpful to have somebody have a very structured approach in, all right, let's take this step and then this step and then this step and kind of baby step you out of that depressive hole that you can feel you're in. And then once you get to a point where you're functioning better, then you can kind of hit the ground running with the coach because you're really going to gain a lot of momentum in that space because they really help you find your passion and they really help you. I want to go back to Jerice's words here because they were perfect. They shift who you are in the moment and call forth who you're becoming. They kind of take what's already existing within you and say, you have this already. It's a very strengths-based approach. And it's funny because I started my practice almost 20 years ago with a strengths-based approach, and I still have a strengths-based approach. But I feel that using your intuition and learning how to use your intuition is much more empowering than going to therapy. Okay. So it's like, all right, I'm like curled up in a ball in the corner, feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do, and I'm stuck and I'm trapped and I'm not motivated, and I don't even know where to go. Right. Okay, great. Let that therapist kind of dig you out of that a little bit and help you, hold your hand, pull you out. And then once you get to that point, say, all right, I'm ready. I'm going to build my own intuition here. Okay. And you don't have to use a coach to do it. You can just do it for yourself. You know, it's a lot easier and it cuts the timeline a lot shorter if you use a coach, if you have a mentor or join a program or something like that, because you're going to have somebody who's very well versed in this and who's going to be able to say, oh, I see through to your subconscious stuff, to your deeper levels of healing that need to be cleared, or your deeper levels of stickiness that need to be managed so that you can move forward more quickly. Okay. And it's at that point that you can say, all right, now I'm ready to tune into my intuition because I'm focused enough. If you have any mental health stuff going on and you enter the coaching world or you enter the intuitive world and you try to read a lot of um, the signals that are coming your way intuitively, it can be foggier, it can get more confusing, and sometimes make you feel a little bit more unstable because it's hard to tell what is a symptom and what is progress. Okay. So it's really helpful for you to have a supportive mentor there to be able to tell you, oh, well, that's very natural. That's very normal. It's okay. This isn't part of your depression or this isn't part of your anxiety. But a lot of times when those things are going on, we can get foggy and we can get confused and honestly just feel less confident, right? Like just feel doubting of yourself and feeling like, I don't really know if I can trust what's coming through. And I have to say, through almost 20 years as a therapist, the number one thing that's at the root of everybody's issues is I don't feel good enough. I don't feel worthy. And that is the primary thing that gets in the way of building your intuition on your own. I've needed somebody to help me with those beliefs. I've needed somebody to help guide me through developing my intuition and learning how to trust that. In fact, it was brilliant for me because I've always been very type A, very organized, very disciplined, very perfectionistic. And so it really offered me an opportunity to surrender a bit more, to let go, let God, let go, let the universe, right? And give up a little bit of that agenda driven, controlling mindset. Not that I was controlling, but I liked having control in my life and I felt overwhelmed outside of that. Melinda says I was in bed for 4 years, depression and PTSD. God bless you, my friend. I'm glad you're no longer in bed and you are a warrior. Obviously, very resilient because you were able to get out of that and that you were able to get yourself out of that. I'm sure you had some assistance and some resources along the way, but I honor you for sharing that openly and for moving through that point in your life. And I think it's really important to be in gratitude, gracious about that part of your life, knowing that it served a purpose, knowing that it informed you and informed your path to help you learn more about yourself, to help you learn what worked and what didn't, and how you can stay preventive. And that's the biggest piece with intuitive work is the more that we grow our intuition, the more preventive we can be about anything going forward. So if you guys are therapy hounds, go to therapy, man. Go nuts, right? But then once you're feeling like, I got this, I'm good, develop your intuition. It's a skill that I promise will serve you for the rest of your life and prevent mental illness, medical illness, any kind of energetic instability, anything that could be going on in your life. It's very preventive to develop your intuition because the more that you tune in with it, the more that you get familiar with all those little tiny nuances or shifts that happen in your energy field that you can catch much earlier than once you start having a physical symptom. Like for me, I got physically ill, very physically ill. I had sepsis and the nurse said 45 minutes away from them not being able to do anything for me. And that was when I opened my eyes and said, oh, all right, I guess I should work harder on myself. I was already working hard on myself. I'm a therapist. I had an awesome self care routine. I had excellent boundaries. But guess what? I needed more. And I had to accept the fact that I was a little needier than I would have liked to be. And I had to accept that whole version of who I was and sink into it and say, all right, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm showing up. How do I attend to myself? How do I take care of myself? Kelly says, therapy through and following through rough divorce was critical. Yes. Love a strengths based approach. Yes. Not all coaching is equal. It requires some true presence and well being as a coach. Exactly. Just like not every therapist is good at what they do. They're just not, and one of the main reasons for that is having their own issues get in the way, their own stuff that interferes, even if they're not consciously aware of that. And that's one of the things that developing my intuition, I can tell you, my clients are just getting better so much faster since I developed my intuition even more. And I've always been very, very intuitive and very good at what I do. But now I'm like fantastic at what I do. So that's what's so cool about it, that when you develop your intuition, it's like, all right, well, I don't need to do this because I'm fine. Well, great. But don't you want to be phenomenal? Right? Set that up for yourself. Set that goal for yourself to be phenomenal, to be amazing. Like there were certain areas of my life that I had just accepted. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. Like I'm just going to settle for the fact that I'm always going to be a little anxious, or I'm always going to be perfectionistic. And that's just who I am. That's my personality. And now I feel like that statement is such a cop out. That's just who I am. That's an excuse. That's an avoidance tactic, right? To distract you from doing the deeper work that you really need to do. Yeah, see, Kelly, that's a little needier than I would like. Hey, Steph, how are you, love? So anyway, so yeah, so what I can say is if you are a therapist or a coach or a healer, the number one thing you can do to improve client outcomes is to grow your intuition. Absolutely. Hands down. You will be more efficient, more effective, and your energy will not be sapped. It just won't, because you're very solid on where you are, what your boundaries are, and your goals going forward, and that you're following your soul's purpose. And you're not just following your soul's purpose, but you're following a purpose that serves the greater good, that serves everybody else. Okay? So it's really important that we all make time for this on a regular basis. And when I say a regular basis, I don't mean daily necessarily. I mean, if you can do that, awesome. But just make sure it's consistent. Okay. Could be once a week, could be once a month, but you put that in your calendar and you make sure that you give yourself time to connect to your own intuition. So, what does that mean to connect to your own intuition? Right. I did a video, I think it was on Sunday or something, on my page. So you guys can scroll down for that if you'd like to. But on the different types of how you can get intuitive messages, right? So there's clairvoyance, there's clairsentience, there's clairaudience, there's claircognizance. There's a number of different ways to tune into your intuition. And that basically means tuning into your five senses on a very simple level. Okay. So one of the best things that I encourage for people is to incorporate all five of your senses in the same experience that you can. Because the more that you do that, the more in tune you are with the present moment, with exactly what's going on within your experience that you're currently in. And it's very, very grounding and soothing, very comforting, really nourishes you. So that's going to be the tip I'm going to give you guys today to start developing your intuition, is to find a nice little cozy corner, right? Or just, I don't, it doesn't have to be a cozy corner. Go outside. That's been my thing lately. Sucked to the earth. I've just been like grabbed. The earth has been calling me. So sit out there if you want to. Okay. And, oh, I love you too, Steph. Thanks for stopping in, honey. So you're going to, I'm going to give you an example. Incorporate as many of your senses at the same time as you can. Put something in your mouth that you like, or have a cup of tea or something. So it can be a piece of chocolate. It's one of my favorites. Dark chocolate, please. Is my internet unstable? No, I don't think so. Am I going in and out, Jerice? Kelly, let me know if my internet's going in and out. So yes, exactly, Kelly. That's what happens. We are all intuitive, but we get taught to stifle some of those. And not because anybody means poorly, their intentions are good, but um, there's certain societal expectations or societal norms. Okay, good, good. Maybe it's on Jeresa's end then. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. We got to don't get too crazy, don't get too passionate, or, I know that you say you want to trust your gut on this, but these are the rules, and you kind of want to make sure that you don't go outside of the box. We're kind of taught to stay in the box. And I loved the mental health world for years for that, because I was like, oh, good. This is perfect and nice and perfectionistic for me. I get to be able to stay within this diagnostic box where there's a list of symptoms, and I'm able to say, okay, these are the exact steps that you need to follow to be able to take care of this. Not that there weren't tweaks for every client, because of course everybody shows up differently and manifests things differently, but it was safe for me, right? It was safe for me to sit in that. It was more of a challenge for me to expand my intuition and to be able to say, oh, I'm just going to trust without the evidence, without the data. And that feels like jumping off a freaking cliff when you're type A and when you like to have an agenda and like you want to have control. Okay, so let me get back to this. And yes, Kelly, you're right. Is that being on the spiritual path or being on the intuitive path and tuning into your intuition can feel rebellious. It can feel like, ooh, I'm going outside of the box, and it feels a little good, but it's also like, ooh, I'm being bad. Like I'm supposed to follow all the rules, right? But it's so beautiful because you're giving yourself space to learn about who you are, to learn the nuances of who you are, and when you expand, how does that feel for you? Right? And what new pathways and alleyways does that take you down that provides opportunity and new information for you to just learn and expand more? Hey, Sherry, so good to see you, honey. So I'm going to go back to this tool that I'm giving you guys for today to build your intuition, which is to incorporate as many of the five senses as you can at once. So you're going to put something in your mouth, dark chocolate, or like a mint, or have a cup of tea or something like that. And if you have a cup of tea, that's going to also include warmth. So you're going to get your sensation there, your touch, and you're also going to get smell, because you're going to smell your tea as you're drinking it. So you're going to get all three of those in one. Then you can put music on, you can light a candle. And another example is like if you're in the shower or the bathtub. And what you do is, you can use a wash that really smells good to you. You can write things on the wall. You can sing. You can turn on music in the background. And then before you get in there, you can put something in your mouth, whether it's a mint, whether it's a chocolate, something like that. But trying to incorporate as many senses as you can at the same time. It just increases your presence. It grounds you very effectively. And it brings you back to, I am here. I'm safe. I'm okay. And I'm finding a foundation within myself. I'm appreciating this moment. I'm really feeling into this moment. And what you're doing is you're sensing, right? You're getting in tune with your senses, which is part of the definition of intuition. Okay. If you'd like to learn more about the clairs, I did do a video a few days ago where I explained it in a little bit more detail. Okay. And you can scroll down on my page for that for sure. And there's a meditation in there too in the Akashic Records. So definitely jump into the yumminess if you want. But I also have a course starting with Stephanie Siefkes next Wednesday. So a little bit less than a week away. And it's called Cosmic Compass Calibrator. I'll put the link in the comments. And you guys are going to learn all about your Akashic Records, how to navigate them, how to use them. It's a 7-week program. You're going to learn all of your clairs and how to heighten them, how to help them work together, and you're going to practice them. And you're going to get a certificate of intuitive activation at the end of this course, because you are going to be an intuitive rock star at the end of this. Whether you want to use this for yourself, whether you want to use this for your clients, what I promise you is that it will increase client outcomes. It will assist you with your own personal development, being more present in your life, being more present with your family, with your friends, with other people that you interact with. And your confidence is just going to go up. When I started this intuitive work, and particularly with the Akashic Records, the things that it has given me the most are confidence, clarity, and energy. So if those areas are something that you'd like to feel phenomenal in, not just, oh, I feel good, I'm good, but you want to feel phenomenal, commit to amazing and jump in. Because I promise you, from the second that you decide to commit to yourself and make this expansion and learn more about you and get more intimate with your own higher self, your own energy at all levels, the the you'll see your life expand in all areas, in all areas. So, I'm going to put the link in the comments. You guys can check it out. Let me know if you have questions. We're going to be creating our own spiritual tools in the Akashic Records. You're going to be a kick ass intuitive chick, guy, whatever. You're going to be so kick ass and you're going to feel really confident about it. It's going to feel seamless by the time that you're done with this course. And the Akashic Records, if you don't know what they are, it's like a spiritual library in the clouds. And when we open your record, we take the book of you off the shelf, we open it up, and it has all of that information about your soul from its first incarnation all the way through into the future. It's like Google for the soul. You can ask any question you want. There's it's a space of infinite possibilities. You can bring in, I mean, it's funny because people used to say that to me and I was like, yeah, I like it. I mean, I'm working with this space, I'm getting a lot out of it. The more that I work with it, the more that it expands, the more I get, and the more phenomenal life becomes. Seriously. And I've always been a very happy person. But I was also anxious. I was also not confident. I also had the not good enough beliefs behind all of that as well. And now I'm phenomenal, way beyond happy. And it's not just serving me, it's serving my family, it's serving my friends, and it's serving all of my clients because their outcomes are just skyrocketing. It's unbelievable. So I really encourage you to make this commitment to yourself. Whether your commitment to yourself starts with this exercise I just described, of combining your five senses as much as you can, staying present and saying, I'm committing to expanding my intuition because I know this is the key that is going to assist me with moving forward and just feeling better in my life, cutting out the crap, being able to cut out the crap like that because you don't have to feel indecisive when you're in that space, when you're aligned with your intuition. There is no indecision. You just know, and it comes very naturally. And I want everybody to be able to learn this space. It is my mission to have everyone learn the space of the Akashic Records, to learn how powerful it is to be in touch with your intuition. And that's the biggest thing that I see as the difference between the intuitive work that I'm doing now in the Akashic Records and therapy, which is that it's much more empowering. I can serve that role as well as a therapist, but the level of power that exists when you experience your own Akashic record and you download your own guidance is absolutely mind blowing. And it's just unparalleled. I haven't found it anywhere else. And I've been on a lifetime of healing and I've tried a lot of modalities and a lot of therapy. So I will put that link in the comments. Let me know if you guys have questions. I really encourage you to look into this and consider signing up, making this commitment to yourself. It starts next Wednesday. We're going to be sending a lot of goodies out in the mail, lots of tools. You're going to be downloading your own tools. You're going to be getting a chakra alignment as a bonus, an assessment and alignment, and clear strategy from the Akashic Records for how to move forward, to align with your soul's purpose, and to feel that level of ease, energy, confidence, clarity that I am so proud to say I now have. So let me know if there's anything else coming up for you guys. I really appreciate you being here with me today. Look at this sunshine beaming in. It's like the angels are raining on all of you right now who are spending time with me, or even you guys on the replay. So have a wonderful, wonderful night. I hope everyone is doing well. Please feel free to put any questions in the comments that you have. Feel free to reach out to me personally. I would absolutely love to support you at this time. And have a beautiful day. Bye.